YouTube, Handlebar Mike here with another pipe video. It's an early 8 o'clock or so on a Thursday morning. Just got done getting my kids off to school, and I thought I'd hop outside for a quick little smoke. And also a cup of coffee. It's a nice strong black cup of coffee that may or may not have whiskey in it. I have off today and tomorrow. I actually took off vacation day so I could spend some time with the old wife and go to lunch and whatnot. But just wanted to make a quick video, say hello. Haven't posted a video in a little bit. And I also wanted to show off my newest acquisition. I am smoking this teeny tiny, cutest little pipe I've ever owned. This is actually a Yello-Bole from the mid-1930s. It's a neat little pipe. It is what they consider a streamliner shape. So you can see it's actually an oval bowl. And it's kind of like think of it as like a vest pocket pipe. So imagine, if you would, the 30s. A guy and a girl going out to see a show or something like that. There's an intermission in the show. They go outside to get a little breath of fresh air, and the gentleman pulls this out of his suit pocket real quick, packs it with a little tobacco, lights it up in a quick 10-15 minute smoke during intermission. It's oval shaped, so it fits in the pocket very well. It's not going to bulge on a jacket or anything like that. That's really what this is intended for. So, but it's a cool little smoke. Again, mid-1930s. Absolutely love it. Yello-Bole was owned by KBB back then, which is the same company that produced Kaywoodies. Yello-Bole actually turned out to be like Kaywoodie seconds, if you want to think of it that way. Kaywoodie at the time had very high standards when it came to their briar and their pipes. And if they had a pipe that did not meet their standards because of flaws in the briar, pits, or something like that, it was sent over to become a Yello-Bole, basically. And so still very high quality briar here, but just maybe not aesthetically pleasing. So you'll see a lot of the Yello-Boles with sandblast finishes to them and that sort of thing. I'm actually smoking some Kendall twist out of this, number 4 twist from Samuel Gowa. Big bolt tobacco for the morning, get the day started with a nice big bold cup of coffee. So again, really didn't have much to talk about. I brought a couple of pipes out. Maybe we could talk about a little bit of how to identify early American pipes like Kaywoodies and this Yello-Bole. So if you guys want to go and look into them, still very affordable. Nobody bid on this except for me. I think I got it for $9, something like that, on eBay. I didn't realize how tiny it was until it came in. It is the cutest little pipe. Amy Mack actually had, she got a Peterson, I believe it's a Peterson, off of eBay. And she was raving about how tiny it was. And then I got this in, and I was like, I'm going to one-up Amy Mack here. This thing is just tiny and precious. It's such a neat little thing. Absolutely love it. The other thing about this pipe, because it is an oval bowl, it's interesting. I say weird. It's interesting how it's drilled. The stem is, or the shank is actually drilled all the way through to most of the end of the bowl, and there's 2 draft holes. There's one at the beginning of the tobacco chamber and one at the end. So there's 2 draft holes in the bottom of this, and this shank is drilled all the way through to the front of the bowl, which is interesting. You know, usually it's just a hole straight down, and then the shank will come in and catch the bottom of that hole for the tobacco chamber. But this one, there's actually 2 draft holes, which is kind of neat. I don't know about the smoking qualities of these oval bowls or not. They're very tiny. This one's very tiny. Obviously, it's going to be hard to try to clean it. You can't use a standard reamer. You're going to have to get in there with a knife or whatever to clean any cake out of it. I'm also using a really cool lighter. This one's from the 40s. This company, Evans, They did produce lighters in the 20s and 30s as well, but based on the way the striker's set up on this one, this one's dated to the 40s. Now I hesitate to share with you guys the secrets of early Kaywoodies because I have enough competition buying them online on eBay as it is. I don't need you guys to. It's funny, the last video I did about the ROP pipes, actually went on eBay and bid on 2 more of them, and I lost one of those 2 auctions. I have never been outbid. I've never been contended with any of the ROP pipe auctions, and then I put out a video on them, and the next thing I know, somebody came against me and outbid me on one of the ones that I wanted. So I was very hesitant to do this, but I think it's important information if you guys want to get involved with some of the American companies like Kaywoodie, like Yello-Boles. That's really what I'm going to cover is the KBB stuff. I'm not going to get into the Graybos. I do have a couple early Graybos as well, and maybe we'll talk about those at a different video, but we'll stick with Kaywoodie and Yello-Bole for right now. But the examples I have are all Kaywoodies except for this little beautiful little Yello-Bole. And I will tell you, on the bottom of this, you're probably not going to be able to see the stamping on it, but if you ever find a Yello-Bole that is stamped with honey cured briar into it, okay, and this one actually, because it's fully sandblasted around it, on the very bottom there's a panel that has it stamped into it, so it'll be KBB in a clover, so KBB in a clover shape, a 3-leaf clover, Yello-Bole, and then if you find on the stamping underneath Yello-Bole, if it says honey cured briar, that's going to be from the mid-30s. They only stamped honey cured briar from I think 34 to 38 or something like that. So that's a definite giveaway. Same thing with 4-digit pipe numbers. This goes across the board for Yello-Bole or Kaywoodies. If you find one with a 4-digit number, it is from the 30s. They started that in, I think, 31, 32, and they stopped doing that at 38, 39 or so. From there on out, Kaywoodies went to a 2-digit stamp. So if you find a Kaywoodie with a 2-digit stamp, it's going to be from the 40s on up, let's say. And there's a couple of things you can look at there to help identify where it is afterwards, and primarily you're going to look at the metal stinger that's inside of the pipe. And let me put this down, and I'll grab some of these Kaywoodies here. So the first one I have is actually a super grain. This is an early 30s super grain, and you can tell because it has the shank, the logo actually on the shank. So it has the spade Kaywoodie logo is actually on the shank itself. These are some of the most sought after ones because of that shank logo. You're going to have to pay typically a premium for these type of things with the shank logo. Typically, you're only going to find the shank logo on the super grain. It was the thing for the super grains. Super grains were some of the higher end lines. They had a select grain or a straight grain, which was higher, but it did not have that little shank logo, and people go crazy for that. I don't know if you guys will be able to see the 4 digits on there or not, but there is a 4-digit code stamped in to the side of the briar here, and it's a 50113. And there are resources online where you can decode this. The first 2 digits are going to be the style digits, so this would actually say that it was a super grain medium billiard, I think this one is, based on their style guide, the 51. And then it wouldn't tell you the actual shape. The 51 would be the style guide, so it would tell you that it was a super grain. It would tell you that it was a screw-in stem to it. Okay, it's not a push-in stem. And then the second 2 digits, in this case, is the 13. That's the actual shape itself. So that's the pipe shape itself. Some other examples. This is a Kaywoodie drinkless, which is another line that they had. And again, we have a 4-digit stamp on it. I'm probably not going to be able to see it on there, so I'm not going to waste. But it's a 7768. So anytime you find, and you'll see that this one, because it's the drinkless line, does not have a shank logo. The logo is actually on the top. Again, this is another good way to date. When when the logo appears on the top of the stem, again, it's going to be in the 30s, and it's going to be the mid 30s or so. They did migrate that logo to the side of the stem in the late 30s or so. So this is a nice example. I try to find any Kaywoodie with a 4-digit stamp on it. Is definitely worth picking up. High quality briar in the 30s. You gotta understand that Kaywoodie, especially in that time frame in the 30s, they had a huge, I want to say monopoly, but they had a massive control over the briar market, and they truly got the most select briar, especially for an American company. You know, the majority of the Kaywoodies come from my home state, New Jersey, Union City, and West New York, New Jersey is where they were produced. Some of the Yello-Boles, there was another subsequent factory that opened up in New Hampshire, I believe. But these are good old American-made pipes, no question about it. It's imported briar, but like I said, they kind of owned the market for briar at the time. So again, American company that today is looked at as a drugstore type pipe, because Kaywoodie did produce some lower quality things in the 80s and 90s and whatnot. Considered you know, like I said, drugstore quality, but back then in the 30s, they were the Cadillac of pipes. They were the best briar. They were really well made, and the market is the estate market to buy them is still kind of soft as far as cost goes. You know, there are some premium ones, like I said, anything with a shank logo on it. They actually have a beautiful author shape, you know, like a 320, like 7 Yello 320 from the 30s with a shank logo that is the most sought after. I almost bought one. A guy on one of my pipe forums put one up for sale. That was beautiful, beautifully restored, absolutely incredible. But the price he wanted for it, I couldn't justify with the wife. Especially because I've been getting quite a few eBay packages lately, as it was. I couldn't justify this. Now, with all the eBay packages, I always say, you know, hey, you know, they've been coming in. I haven't spent more than, you know, $20 on anything. Any of those Rot pipes or any of this. Anything I've gotten recently from eBay has been cheap. And I did just get that moonshine not that long ago. And that was you know, $100. So with this one, it was a little bit more than $100, and I just couldn't justify it, even though I wanted it so bad. It's a pipe acquisition disorder at its best, but I did show restraint. All right, so anything with a 4-digit number on it, and even on the Yello-Bole, there is a 4-digit on the bottom here as well. It is 2764. And again, you can decode these. There is resources online that have the prefix number as well as the shape number, so the beginning to and the end to. After the 30s, they went to, like I said, a two-digit stamp for the shapes. I thought I grabbed one that had it, but I didn't. The 2-digit stamps went up until, I think, 75, 78. So if you find a Kaywoodie with a 2-digit stamp on it, which is going to be your size stamp, you're going to see that up and through the 70s or so. How to date those? Again, some resources online. Some shapes were specific to some years. You can find those. The other thing you want to look at is the metal stingers themselves. Okay, so this is an early, again, this is the 30 drinkless that I just unscrewed. The early stingers actually say drinkless on the side of them, and they have 4 holes in the ball on the ends. Okay, so there's one drilled at an angle straight through that way, and then one drilled at an angle straight through that way. So there's actually 4 holes on the end of this stinger up top. These are the earlier stingers, so these are pre-70 or so stingers. When you get into the later stingers, like this little Zulu that I have here, or Yachtman as they called it, you'll have a 3-hole stinger. So there is a main hole in the top and then a hole drilled across. So we have 1 hole and then the 2 holes there. I actually like the 3-hole stinger. The draw hole on these is actually a little bit bigger than on the earlier stinger, so it does have a nicer draw to it, which is kind of cool. I don't mind. That's one of the big issues people have, I think, with the stingers, is there is kind of a restrictive draw on it. It's not bad. It doesn't bother me. Occasionally, you will find a stem that is repaired, like this one. This had a stinger on at one point in time, but it was repaired with just a tube. This is a nice free flow. There is no restriction on it whatsoever. Without a stinger, or a pipe without a stinger that should have one, or a pipe that has a repaired stinger like that one that I just showed you, should run you even less. Okay, you should not be paying premium, even with like a shank logo like this one. I picked this one up very, very inexpensively because it had this repair done and it didn't have the actual stinger on it. I have a couple of other super grains with the logos. I just didn't feel like pulling them all out that actually have the stinger. I just wanted to show you what a repair might look like. If you find a Kaywoodie that does not have a screw-in stem, and it has typically a KBB logo, instead of just Kaywoodie, it would have the KBB Shamrock on it, and it's a push stem. Those are probably going to be some of your earliest. Now, they did create some of those for the export market as well, without the screw-in stem. So you would want to look for push-in stems with the stinger on them. Okay, a lot of the export ones that they did had push-in stems, but they didn't have the metal stinger on them because the European market just wasn't into it. It was kind of an American thing, it seemed, at one point. So the European market they didn't sell well. So they did make push-in stems with no metal stinger in them whatsoever. Those might be considered exports. If you find one with a stinger, and the other way too is with a drinkless. It actually is called the drinkless line, which this one was here. Instead of having the spade logo, if it has a push-in tenon and the logo actually looks like the stinger, all right. So the logo is a white little icon that looks like that. Okay, a ball on the top stem. And it should be a push-in stem. I don't have any of those. That's going to be 24 to 29. So 1924 to 1929. Those are some of your earliest ones, and those are really the most sought after. They can get up over $200 easy for those, because they are such early examples and that sort of thing. That's just some general guidelines, guys. Off the top of my head, I didn't have anything written down for that. I'm kind of a Kaywoodie geek. My grandfather's pipe of choice was a Kaywoodie. This video has gone on now for very long. It's about 18 minutes, probably the longest video I've ever done. I'm going to finish this cup of coffee and finish this quick little smoke in this beautiful little Yello-Bole here, and have a great rest of the day. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and don't forget, pack a bowl, light it up, burn it down, enjoy, relax, and I'll see you guys online next time.